Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Japanese pilot takes top spot in Red Bull air race in Japan. Dassault brother team hopes to return to Normandy in 2019. EAA opposes White House ATC privatization plan. Hello, I'm Laura Hutson. It's June 8th, and this is Airborne Unlimited. A hometown hero claimed the top spot on the podium last weekend at the Red Bull air race in Chiba, Japan. Yoshihide Miroya took the win in Chiba, and Peter Kofstein collected his first podium appearance in an amazing race. The Japanese pilot picked up a penalty in round 8, but when it came to the final 4, he crossed the start-finish gate in 55.288, one of the quickest times of the racing week. Peter Kofstein made the most of his first attempt at the final 4 by storming through the track and crossing the finish line just 0.558 seconds behind Miroya to claim second place and the first podium of his masterclass career. With Miroya and Kofstein flying well, it was up to Matthias Dolderer and Martin Sonka to try and spoil their party, but the final 4 wasn't without incident. Martin Sonka scored a penalty and added 2 seconds to his time. If it wasn't for this mistake, he would have won. Matthias Dolderer would have also seen himself on the podium, but for the second race in a row, he clipped a pylon at one of the final gates, and that saw him drop to 4th place. The race sees Miroya and Sonka both with 30 points at the top of the standings, with Matthias Dolderer 7 points behind. The commemorative Air Force hopes to return the first aircraft over Normandy on D-Day to France for the 75th anniversary of the invasion, and they are looking for your help to accomplish that goal. The CAF has established an online donation site to help fund the restoration of Dassault Brother, the C-47 that led the D-Day invasion in 1944. The goal for the project is to restore Dassault Brother to its D-Day configuration using historical components which have been sourced from all over the world. This year has seen the completion of the rebuilding of the wings and most major mechanical work. Currently, the team is overhauling the airplane's engines, and it's hoped that the C-47 will fly again for the first time late this year. In 2018, following the installation of the non-structural period correct components, the team plans an official rollout in the beginning of routine operations for the aircraft, capped by the return to Normandy for the June 6, 2019 anniversary of the invasion. After the break, EAA opposes White House.
Explore no-limits flying in the FAA-certified Sea Ray Amphibious LSA, one of the top 3 best-selling LSAs in the U.S. Progressive Aerodyne Sea Ray comes equipped with a Rotax engine and exhibits extraordinary handling on land, water, and in the air. Check it out at www.searay.com.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Welcome back. EAA has joined other general aviation groups in opposing the measures outlined by the White House for reform of the nation's air traffic control system. A letter to President Trump opposing the principles for reforming the U.S. air traffic control system was signed by EAA and 15 other general aviation organizations. The letter states the group's very real and long-standing concerns, which include but are not limited to user fees. These concerns are based on our operating experiences in these foreign systems and impact they have on general aviation. The White House principles make a gross misrepresentation that the air traffic control system is broken, but the facts don't support that claim, said Jack J. Pelton, EAA CEO and Chairman. This proposal is a solution in search of a problem. EAA supports modernization of the American airspace system, and progress is happening with the input of all the system stakeholders. This new plan would do nothing to solve any current technology or efficiency issues. while undermining the world's most extensive general aviation system and disrupting the world's largest and safest air traffic control system. It is a bad idea, and EAA will continue to state that to those in aviation, Congress, and the public. It's Thursday, which means that it's time for an Aero-Community update, highlighting news and information about the incredible people and organizations that populate the Airborne Partnership Initiative behind Airborne Unlimited. In a little over a month, the A&N Aero-TV and Airborne crews will be heading for Oshkosh to prepare our coverage of aviation's greatest gathering. Like past years, we'll be pulling out all the stops and maybe adding some new features to the mix in order to celebrate the 10th year of A&N's Aero-TV initiative, the first aviation media effort to provide daily news and feature video content to the aviation world. Over the course of thousands of programs, A&N and Aero-TV not only introduced Airborne, but have grown Airborne to take on pivotal partnerships that have expanded our efforts dramatically. And yet there's more to come. A&N will announce at least 6 new Airborne partnerships at Oshkosh, and may even take the wraps off the biggest project yet, an aggressive, disruptive, and innovative expansion of Airborne Unlimited itself. A&N is also opening up its Stringer program again this year to volunteers with a desire to help broaden our coverage of the event and have the necessary reporting, video, or photography skills to be of assistance. Email Jim at aero-news.net if you want to join the crew. After these messages, more ATC privatization fallout.
Based on the popular Sling 2 LSA, the Sling 4 was designed to be the most practical and desirable lightweight 4-place experimental aircraft on the market. Find out more about this 115 horsepower turbocharged airplane at airplanefactory.com.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. In one of the strongest statements opposing the privatization of air traffic control, the Alliance for Aviation Across America says that the proposal amounts to a gift to the nation's commercial airlines at a time when they least deserve it. The pilots of JetBlue Airways, represented by ALPA, have received access to $2.5 million allocation from ALPA's Major Contingency Fund to support the pilots' critical phase of endgame contract negotiations. The allocation was announced after a special vote by the association's Executive Council to release the funds, and comes after more than 2 years of direct contract negotiations between JetBlue management and the airline's 3,400 pilots. The Colorado Aviation Business Association and the Colorado Division of Aeronautics are pleased to announce the release of Governor John Hickenlooper's proclamation declaring June 2017 to be General Aviation Appreciation Month. For the 7th consecutive year, Governor Hickenlooper has honored aviation as a vital pillar of the state's economy, supporting 265,700 jobs with a combined annual payroll of $12.6 billion. Airbus claims to be the first aircraft manufacturer to offer customers the option of delivering new jets using a blend of sustainable jet fuel. The 15th A350-900 for Cathay Pacific departed Toulouse on June 1st, bound for Hong Kong, with a 10% blend of sustainable jet fuel in its tanks. Since the first delivery in May 2016, all of Cathay Pacific's A350s have been delivered in this configuration. Approximately 12,000 people made their way onto historic Ford Island to attend this year's biggest little air show in Hawaii at Pacific Aviation Museum, Pearl Harbor, which just wrapped up its 10th annual event. More than a dozen top remote control pilots showcased their award-winning giant-scale aircraft in recognition of the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Midway, Pilots from nationally acclaimed warbirds West performed an epic battle of midway reenactment with dive bombers and fighter planes. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. A group of about 30 engineers, including some from Toyota, are working on a flying car concept they hope will be able to light the Olympic flame for the 2020 Summer Games in Tokyo. Cartivator began developing the SkyDrive flying car in 2014, crowdfunding much of the effort. Now, while the project is still in an early stage of development, according to team leader Tsubasa Nakamura, a manned prototype could be flying by the end of 2018. In Saturday's tethered test, the Cartivator aircraft was only able to hover near the ground for a few seconds. More stability and range is needed for them to fulfill their goal of lighting the Olympic flame, Nakamura said. The end goal of the project is to build and sell a small flying car that would be used in urban areas. The group hopes to be able to have the product on the market by 2025. While the initial round of funding was done through crowdsourcing, Toyota recently invested $385,000 into the project for the next 3 years. Well, that's our program for today. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily, Monday through Friday, with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe, and do check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. See you tomorrow.